The situation in Haiti is even worse than in the Dominican Republic. From French colonizers looting all the money to deforestation wrecking the economy, natural disasters wiping out generations, and even foreign investors turning a blind eye, Haitians are living a life no one can even imagine in their darkest nightmare. It's as though destiny is robbing them of any possibility of sleeping peacefully one night. Right now, if you look at a satellite image of Haiti, you'll notice how highlighted the boundary between the two countries is. If you're from Haiti, not only will people from the Dominican Republic openly beat you, offer you death threats, and even take your possessions away from you, but they'll also verbally abuse you. The people's only chance of survival at this point is to hope to be born on the other side of the street. Not only will you have a better chance of life as an infant, but you'll also be 10 times wealthier than Haitians. But how does a country that was once the golden land of sugar, coffee, and tobacco become hell? Want to read about everything that's making it difficult for Haitians to stand straight in front of the Dominican Republic? Watch this video till the very end. Let us transport you to 1492, when Christopher Columbus first explored this island. Columbus landed on the tropical paradise on December 6, 1492, and named it Hispaniola, or Little Spain. Columbus set up a camp called La Navidad in the Caribbean. Fun fact, this is where he first learned of the screaming parrot, which he eventually delivered to Seville. Returning to our voyager, he constructed his first cathedral in this location, which is still standing on the property. He was also sick for 5 months after arriving, and it took him a long time to recover. However, for the native Indians Columbus met on the island, things were not that simple. After 50 years, Columbus's fellow sailors butchered every one of them, leaving no inhabitant alive. Think twice if you believe this was the island's worst fate. Following that, in 1512, Spaniards arrived on the island and imported Negro slaves to farm and harvest spices, sugarcane, tobacco, and other crops. This location was dubbed Santo Domingo by the locals. Fortunately, if something is overly sweet, the bees will arrive. Thus, in the 1600s, the French arrived on the island and began fighting with Spain for control of the western portion of the island. Slaves were the ones who died, were malnourished, and had their generations destroyed in this rope fight between two nations. 100 years later, in the 1700s, Spain granted France 1/3 of the country to rule independently. The French Empire began exploiting this region on a majority basis, claiming the name Saint Domingo. They took custody of all its natural resources. Not only were trees torn down in the majority of cases to cultivate the trendy crops of the period, but individuals were also not treated with respect. So you can only push a spring so far. It was simply too much for the Haitians to begin their revolt against the French Empire in 1791. Finally, they hoisted their flag in 1804. While they fantasized about a new future filled with hope and riches, the French king plotted to wipe them out once more. This was the most horrific form of vengeance in history. In July 1825, the French King Charles X dispatched troops or warships to Haiti and demanded that the people pay him 150 million francs in compensation for the slaves' independence. The Haitians had two options: accept and suffer the consequences, or pay the money back in over 30 years. It took the country 122 years to redeem the debt, which ended in 1947. But it wasn't just the money they lost in the process. Because crops had to be planted again to pay France, the earth had lost all its vegetative ability. Overuse and tree cutting made the country more prone to flooding. While all of this was going on, the Dominican Republic obtained independence from Spain in 1821, only to be attacked by Haitians the following year. Yes, they were getting under the feet of Haitians just a year later. As the saying goes, you gonna treat others the way you've been treated by others. This is exactly what Haitians did to the Dominican Republic. However, only 22 years later, in 1844, a line was erected between the Dominican Republic and Haiti to eternally separate these two nations. Everything has bloomed on one side of the island since then, making the Dominican Republic joyful and affluent. However, due to major earthquakes, floods, and food shortages, Haitians died at an alarming rate. Finally, in 1890, this land became the world's first free black republic. It was so powerful in its commitment to remain free that even the United States crumbled and refused to acknowledge its nationality, fearing it would motivate its slaves. Even America sought to get a piece of the pie in 1915 when it attacked both sides of the island. The United States invaded and governed Haiti for 2 decades beginning in 1915. The country invaded the Dominican Republic in 1934 and controlled it for 8 years. Even when America sent troops to stabilize the island's economy in the late 1960s, it didn't work well. Can you see how much time this place spent in slavery now? Also, because Haiti was such a vulnerable area at this moment for anyone to just go into, rule over, and pose a possible threat to the Dominican Republic, tensions between them would have risen even higher. Nonetheless, both countries despised one another, particularly because of their skin color. However, some people cross the border and just begin immigrating to this side of the border, assuming that at least their children would have a better future than they had. In 1929, the Dominican Republic passed legislation making everyone born on its soil a citizen. However, when immigration became a concern in 2010, the rules were altered. Citizenship was now limited to those with legalized parents, but it didn't solve their situation. In the end, the Dominican Republic's High Court reversed its previous ruling, stating that people with undocumented parents will have their nationality taken. Not only that, but they'll be returned to their own land. The Haitians, who already had more than enough growling stomachs, began receiving more people from outside. Over 200,000 people lost their homes all at once. They were given 2 options, either getting deported or having their name listed in a foreign registry. If you believe that having their name in a foreign database alters everything, you are mistaken. It makes them stand out even more for the violent reaction from Dominican Republicans. More than 55,000 persons were hurled across the border in 2015. Now, not only did Haiti have little agricultural area, but it also had a growing population. You must read Jared Diamond's 2005 book Collapse, which openly conveyed a frightening yet honest image of Haiti's deforestation. Point to be noted, even though Haiti has lost agricultural land, it still possesses more farmland than the Dominican Republic. According to some theorists, the credit for the entire chaos goes to France. Spain established the government and living standards in the Dominican Republic, while France treated it solely as an economic hub. Even if Rafael Trujillo governed the Dominican Republic, it today has more favorable circumstances. Now that we've discussed how money is being taken away and land is no longer useful, let's look at another reason why Haiti is worse than the Dominican Republic. Due to Haiti's history of unstable government and frequent leadership changes, many business people have been hesitant to establish operations there. So obviously, you cannot even consider having a large share of foreign investment here. Furthermore, the level of exploitation under Haiti's political regime is significantly higher. The dictatorship of Haiti's decade-long father-son reign was plagued with political foes. The Dominican Republic, on the other hand, was smart and switched to competitive elections in 1996. This adds an extra level to Haitians' downfall. Do you know that the rate of literacy in the Dominican Republic is 95.17%? Haitians, on the other hand, have a literacy rate of 60.78%. Because the Dominican Republic has more money, resources, and a government that encourages education, their children are less likely to go into farming. Now, on the other hand, Haitians already have their destiny locked from birth. When it comes to tourism, which might be a lucrative source of revenue for the country, Haiti falls horribly. Consider this. You wish to take a vacation to a faraway location. Where would you go? To a polluted land with few trees and scant sights to see? Or how about a land with hospitals, hotels, beaches, delectable food, and simply outstanding service? Haiti's poverty made them miserable once more. But wait, there's more. Given the Haitian government's increased tax income rate, the people's income is scooped up even more. However, this is not the end of the chapter. Unfortunately, people aren't the only threat on this island. In fact, Hurricane Jeanne made landfall from the eastern edge of the Dominican Republic in 2003, killing about 4,300 Haitians. However, only 19 people died on the other side of the island. Then there was Hurricane Matthew, which killed 300 Haitians but just 4 Dominicans. Finally, only Haitians were killed in the 2010 earthquake. However, not a single soul from the other side of the island perished. And at this time, you can probably anticipate that Haiti lacks finances for catastrophe response or disaster planning. The World Bank describes how natural disasters made this place a living hell for the residents. At this time, a Dajabon market has been established in the Dominican Republic near the Haitian border using funds from the European Union and the United Nations Development Program. Haitians visit this market twice a week, only to be stopped by guards who open the gates anytime they want. The market represents a joint effort by both countries to offer their goods with equal opportunities. However, if Haitians pay the bribe money, the guard unlocks the gate first for the chosen ones. The rest stay standing, their belongings tossed away, and their bodies battered with sticks. In the 1960s, everyone on the island was living the same way. But looking at the state of Haiti today, it appears that time has never progressed beyond 1950 in terms of their living standards. What do you think about their situation right now? Let us know what topic you'd want to hear about next. If you enjoy our content, do like the video and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned.